Okay, so welcome, dear Espoo Cine Festival audience, to this post-screening discussion or conversation with the director Salome Chasnoff, the director of the film Code of the Freaks that you just watched comfortably, I hope, on your seats at the theater in Espoo. My name is Johanna Karppinen, and it is my absolute pleasure to be having this chat with Salome, tuning in from, is it Chicago, Salome, where we find you?
Chicago, yeah, Illinois, US.
Fantastic. Well, let's begin with a couple of words of introduction, sort of personal background of you. I have learned that you are a Chicago-based filmmaker, installation artist, educator, and for about 30 years or so, you have worked in documentary and experimental film, installation, participatory performance, and social practice art. And then in addition, you're also a senior lecturer at School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us about yourself?
No, I think, well, mainly one of the key focuses of my art and community work is I'm a founding collective member of the P.O. Box Collective, which is a 20-member collective, volunteer run here in Rogers Park, Chicago, which is a neighborhood of Chicago. Yeah. And it's we do radical art, mutual aid, social practice, community building, and all kinds of stuff. And we're super busy all the time. So it's a very important and fulfilling part of my life.
Okay, well, thank you, Salome, for the fantastic and very, very important film indeed. Well, I guess the obvious question is, what brought you to make this particular film?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that, because for me, the background is so important, but it's also information that general audiences don't receive by watching the film. But I had been part of a media making organization for many years called Beyond Media, and we worked with people in community to make their own films. We brought equipment and skills and taught people how to use the equipment and also to turn their lived experience into visual language to present. Could be a film, could be a website or an installation or photography exhibition, but most generally they were short videos. So this was in the early 2000s, and Susan Nussbaum, who unfortunately passed away about a year and a half ago, Susan, who was a co-producer and co-writer on Code of the Freaks, and was actually her original idea to make the film. At the time, in the early 2000s, she was the coordinator of a group called the Empowered Fifis of Access Living. Access Living is a center for independent living here in Chicago, very radical, forward-thinking, very well known. And Susan formed this group there for teen girls. And she reached out to me. She wanted to see if we could make a movie with them. And we ended up making a series of 3 films over 4 or 5 years. And the girls learned all the filmmaking skills and represented themselves, and and there were a wide range of disabilities and some quite serious, and yet it didn't keep them from filmmaking, both behind and in front of the camera, which was at the time completely radical. And the films were really popular both in festivals and educational settings. And so when Susan got this idea to look at how Hollywood exploits disabled characters for their own ends, which is, I would say, promoting certain social narratives, but also making money. When Susan got this idea, she reached out to me and said, let's do this. And I jumped on it. And and so
when was this? Because it was then a long process. I mean, or
very long. Yeah. We began by pulling together, editing together clips from films on a particular theme. So let's say the theme we'd be looking at would be blind men and blind women. And we just edit clips together, and then we would facilitate a conversation in a public place with either just disabled audiences or a mixed disabled and non-disabled audiences. We'd show the clips, and she and Carrie Sandal, who was another co-producer, co-writer on the film, would facilitate conversation, and I would film it. And we did this for, and other people, helped me film it. I don't want to claim credit for that. But
Good.
yeah, and we did this for I want to say 3, 4, maybe 5 years, quite a while, because while we were doing it, we were developing audience for our project, and we were developing our critique.
Right.
And we were kind of figuring out over this period what we wanted to make. We had the idea, but we didn't really have the approach. We didn't have the strategies. I mean, I've been making documentaries for many years, and I mean, I guess I work in a way that suits my personality, which is very much discovery. Like, I never know what I'm doing. And, it's very high risk and nerve-wracking. And hopefully toward the end, I'm figuring it out. And that's what kind of happened with Code of the Freaks. But a lot of people, plan it out ahead of time, and you can kind of tell the difference.
It's a very
because
bold,
I also try to show the process of filmmaking in most of my work in the film itself. But we were, I think the approach and the ultimate form of Code of the Freaks was informed by a lot of things. I think in terms of the form, we decided like a direct essay film, an essay film would be the most useful for what we wanted to make. And we very much wanted it to be a conversation among what some people call cripperati, the crip cultural activists, critics, writers, scholars, people like that. And we wanted to create a conversation. We weren't necessarily concerned with bringing big celebrities.
You balance the historical kind of aspect of the film with the personal perspectives of the individuals.
Well, we very much wanted to show the expanse. That this isn't just a contemporary phenomenon. This is, these representational strategies come out of a long history of using disabled characters for certain messaging purposes from the beginning of film. And I'm sure, as like, for example, as Riva Lair says in Code of the Freaks, portrait painting, and Sahaya Bear references literature. So this isn't isolated to Hollywood. There are stereotypes, but mainstream cinema utilizes, enjoys these stereotypes because it's quick, it's ready-made language. It's like fast food.
Yeah.
And so, you drive through and you grab a cliche and you're off. You're not wasting any time. And so it enables filmmakers that want to promote those particular messages, just using those stereotypes, those tropes, those cliches, gets the message out quickly and easily, and they can go on with the show.
Exactly. Well, sticking still for one question, in the process of the making of the film, did you encounter any challenges? I mean, we're talking about a myriad of material and a great bunch of experts, from scholars, like you said, from scholars, professors to writers, poets, actors, other talents. So did you encounter any challenges both in terms of gathering the historical material and then conducting the interviews, and what was?
Well, I think in terms of gathering the information, fortunately, two of our producers, Carrie Sandal and Allison Pat Savis, were teaching a course on American, I don't know the name of it, but it was just disability in film at University of Illinois Circle campus. And they were pretty much, yeah, when we first started working on it, Allie was still a grad student. She was Carrie's grad student. Now she's an assistant professor out there, because I mean, I'm sure she's up for associate already, but because it was a long time ago. But we had because they were developing this course over many years and tweaking it, the film got the benefit of their scholarship. And that was amazing. In terms of problems, I would say the main problem that we had, and it's interesting because we had no problem developing audiences. People were game. People were really excited. We gather audiences in our salons, and even people that had considered themselves disability cultural critics.
What do you mean by gathering audiences, just to make sure we understand?
Oh, when we showed these montages of clips in salons, that's when those audiences I'm talking about, the early audiences to our slowly evolving work in progress. We
kind
showed it.
Audience of sorts, in a way.
Yeah. Okay. We did a lot of screenings over the years when we were developing the film, and we had no problems at all. Bringing audiences to the work, even repeat audiences to different versions. People felt a lot of ownership with the development of the film, which was wonderful. And people just, things came up people had never thought of. And I think this is such a tender topic because we fall in love with films. There's such a part of our own growing up that like popular songs, they represent moments in our lives, and their escape from the challenges of everyday living, and all these meanings that we all share. So people get attached to films even when they're hurtful. So that part, the conversations we've always had about during the making of the film and since its release have been wonderful. The one audience that we had difficulty with was funders. They wanted something not so snarky, not so. I mean, I think that what happened, one of the things that we're most proud of is that the film addresses an insider audience as well as the general public. Like if you're a person with disabilities in the audience, you're going to see yourself reflected. So the film doesn't take like a scolding tone to, I'm going to educate you, to, an able-bodied heteronormative audience. It very much is talking to insiders as well as people who are new to the topic. Funders didn't like that. They found it to be off-putting and snarky and, just not star-studded enough. And so we had trouble getting funding, and we ended up, especially because we were also going to like more academic sources as well as sources that fund cinema generally. So we ended up crowdfunding, and all those years of audience development, and then our own careers and our own connections helped. And that's just what we did. We raised just enough money to make the film, and that's another reason that also I think shaped the structure of the film, because doing an essay film was, we could do it on the cheap.
Indeed. Well, I can understand.
It served the purpose. We all love it. We're all very happy with it. And I just want to, in case you don't ask, I just want to insert, the film also has free teaching tools It has, yeah, and it's on our website. It's all online. And the website is codeofthefreaks.com. And then also there you can see all the distribution opportunities. But so we have two basic teaching tools. One is a short community-based discussion guide. So anybody that's showing the film in a community situation or even like a family situation, friends could use that. And then we also have a semester-long course.
Oh, fantastic.
We have the a version of the course that Carrie and Allie taught, or probably still teaching, and it has all kinds of footage that didn't make it into the film and interviews with long form interviews with people, films that we didn't discuss in Code of the Freaks show up there, and it's all free.
What an everyday person, everyday people could do to promote inclusivity and accessibility in their communities.
Yeah, I think awareness is key. And, beginning to question representations that you see. I mean, and I think it's important to know that it's okay to love something that has meaning for you and you enjoy it, but still be able to critique it. And sometimes having that critical eye allows you to enjoy it more because there's no guilt. It's just, you've got both things going on. We're complex individuals and we can hold more than one thing at a time. So we can enjoy something and question it and critique it. We could laugh at it and laugh with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that, in terms of going to the movies, I mean, I think that every day language is changing in terms of how we address each other. And it's hard for some people to keep up.
Yeah.
It's hard for most people to keep up because it's changing all the time. And I think that makes people uncomfortable. And, around sexuality and around ability and, all of the isms.
And the film fantastically also discusses the intersectionality of disability and race and gender, which I personally felt so important.
I think in the film, we really spent a lot of time trying to find films with Black women who are disabled and like Latinx women disabled. We couldn't find anything that was, that was mainstream, because that was our focus. People ask, what about television? What about like independent film? And, that wasn't our focus. And we had to have parameters. We had a limit. But I think that also we weren't just delivering a film course. We were talking about like the impacts of these mainstream representations on people in everyday life. So
yeah, exactly. Well, documentaries can also be powerful catalysts for change and create impact. So what is the impact that you hope Code of the Freaks will have, I don't know, on society's perception of disability and the representation in media, or what should and could be done in the future?
Well, I think it's already happening where, it's representations are opening up. It's like a much wider range. I mean, one of the things, so we use freaks. Well, let me answer that question and then I'll say what I was going to say. But yeah, what I would hope is for people to have critical conversations, critical, compassionate, clear viewed conversations with each other about, when they go to a movie or when they see an article or when they see something in the news, like to be able to talk about it with a little more insight and awareness. I think that would be a big thing. And and just have the have the confidence, the courage, the sense of you have a right to make whatever you want and put it out there. So give people permission to make quirky movies, put them on TikTok or whatever, just make stuff and don't be afraid. Like, because the more stuff is in the conversation, there's the more options we as viewers are going to have, and the more intelligence around how people are thinking and feeling and living is going to be out there. But I just wanted to say, so we use Todd Browning's Freaks as a touchstone. That's our jumping off place, and that's where we return to, and it informs the whole film. And I think one of the things that's I really love about the film, besides the fact that we have characters who have disabilities, but who also have agency and who express the kind of community and solidarity that we live. That's how they are reflecting how we want to live. Like, I'm talking about the makers of Code of the Freaks. So we really resonate with that. But I also really love how Browning doesn't show them like in performance, doing their freak show or doing their acrobatics or whatever. But we see them eating and, doing laundry and chatting, scheming, like just everyday life.
Yeah.
So it really, I think, underlines the humanity of these characters.
Absolutely. Well, you shared the issues or problems that you had with financing. What advice would you give to those people, individuals in positions of influence and power, to how to best support and champion disability rights and
I think
the best way?
I think that the first thing I would say to people, decision makers, people in positions of power, either in terms of giving money or giving jobs or giving opportunities, is that they need to question their own taste, kind of look a little more critically at what they like and what they don't like. And don't just support work that they like.
Yeah.
It's not a good enough reason. Like, and then don't just support, so people will favor work they like, but then there's all these boxes that they have to check, to do their due diligence around representation. And neither of those are really good reasons for supporting work. I mean, because we don't want a field that has no disability representation, but we also don't want just tokenistic,
ticking
stereotype representation. We just want real expressions of people struggling with real issues of everyday living. I mean, that's what we look for.
Thank you for giving us your time and insights into the process.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the festival. It's a huge honor to be screened here. And thank you to your audiences for coming to the show. I wish I could be with you. I really do.
Thank you. We hope there will be a chance in the future. Thank you very much, Salome. Thank you. All the best.
Bye-bye.